Hi, in this tutorial, what you're going to do is you're going to start off from a blank Blender 2.8 screen, and then you're going to work your way up to this stylized character mesh that you see here. What you're going to do is take basic shapes. You're going to take those basic shapes and form them into the shape of a basic male. You're then going to use the boolean modifier to join those shapes together. Those shapes will then be brought into sculpt mode, and in sculpt mode, you'll work towards this three male stylized character mesh that you see here. Additional things that you're going to learn are how to make teeth and gums, how to make eyeballs and eyelids, eyebrows, as well as hair. This tutorial is fully narrated. It is taught in a step-by-step fashion. Not only do I tell you what I'm doing, I try to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Not holding shift, holding shift. Now see how this blends in like this? Remember I was telling you about the manifold issues. When you have a manifold issue, you don't have, when you try to blend things together like this, typically what happens is almost no matter what you do, it being the mesh will not blend correctly. So here, we can see the separation. However, when we go over, hold the middle mouse button to rotate, we can see the mesh is acting like it's one mesh. Holding shift. When you have manifold or non-manifold issues, I should say, when you try to do things like this, things don't work right. I'm trying to get through this fairly quickly. Everything is joining right, and basically we have the basic shapes that we need to work. Holding shift, not holding shift, holding shift, holding the middle mouse button to rotate. Not holding shift, holding shift. See, when we look here, we can see there's like very little geometry. I'm going to make the brush bigger, and I just click just to add more geometry to there because there was so little geometry. You can see the face has a lot. Like these edges here. Not holding shift, holding shift. Some areas you can, purposely not blend them in as much. You want them to be kind of hardish edges later on. This right here, the way we form this, we'll leave this how it is for now. And issues, when there are some issues that pop up, generally I make meshes to be animated, which means they're gonna meshes like this. By us using dynamic topology, we don't have good topology for animation, so this has to be retopologized. So in the retopology process, when you do have some issues, you can deal with things. Just adding geometry just by clicking there. Just thinking about later on working with this. Holding shift, holding shift. Not holding shift, holding shift. I'm basically looking for holding control in the middle mouse button to join like this. I'm just not holding shift, I'm just adding geometry so I can join these pieces together more. Also, depending on the power of your computer, you can kind of aim for certain spots. You can be more careful or raise like the number for dynamic topology. Holding shift is set for 5. If depending on the strength of your computer, you can change that and make that a higher number that won't take as much computer power. Not holding shift, holding shift. Okay, I'm going to hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Holding shift. I go shift, holding shift. Holding shift. Not holding shift, holding shift. Holding shift. Tell the middle mouse button to rotate, holding shift. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Back in. Not holding shift, holding shift. Not holding shift, holding shift. Not holding shift, holding shift. Holding the middle mouse button to rotate. Not holding shift, holding shift. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Not holding shift. Well, holding shift now, yeah. I'm just holding to look to see what else. Looks like it's pretty well joined together now. Let me make sure I have my dynamic topology on. I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Hold control on the middle mouse button to zoom in. Okay, these next steps should be fine if your computer is fairly current. The current year is 2019. If your computer is a little older, you might want to manually smooth out your mesh more than what we're about to do next. And what we're about to do is just use the computer to help us smooth out our mesh more. Okay, as far as doing that, one of the ways we're going to do it is we're going to make our mesh equal as far as the density of the mesh throughout the mesh. The way we can do that is we're going to go down to where we see detailing relative detail. I'm going to click this triangle here. I'm going to go to constant detail, right? Once I went to constant detail, okay, what I can do is I'm going to go to this ink dropper here, left click on this, and see, I didn't click anything yet. See how it says 3 there? I'm going to click on the face. So now this says 18.93. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on detail flood. And basically what's going to happen is, like particularly on the legs and things like right here, you should see that the entire mesh will take on the detail that was before in the head. Okay, as far as the smoothing that we're about to do, I just learned how to do this a little while ago. Between the portions in the video, sometimes days will pass or different periods of time will pass. I'm not sure if what we're about to do would have made the steps of adding the geometry around the joints not necessary? I honestly don't know. However, this is a new way of smoothing that I've just learned just to make things quicker. So now that we have the geometry same throughout the entire mesh, though this drastically increased our triangle count, it's a lot easier to smooth this out. So I'm going to go to detailing where we have constant detailing. I'm going to click this and change this back to relative detail. And I'm going to zoom into the hand. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm holding Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. What I'm going to do is add extra detail to the hands because we're going to use a smooth modifier, and I want the hands to maintain most of the shape that they have now. So that's why I'm adding this extra geometry. We zoom in closer, we can put in more detail. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going over the hands with the Simplify brush. And you can see as we're doing it, we're adding in more detail to the hands, holding the middle mouse button, rotate. I'm just clicking right, just left clicking, not dragging, but just left clicking on the tips of the fingers. Hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. And hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan towards the face. Okay, so I'm going to add extra detail to particularly the nose because I want the detail there to stay. So when we use this smooth modifier, it's going to smooth out a lot of things, and basically, you know, the face, I want this to basically maintain its current look. It needs further work, but I want it to maintain the same thing with the ears. So by adding the extra geometry in here, I am expecting that this will help the face as well as the head maintain its basic shape. Though this is seriously taking up the geometry. I have relative detail, so be aware that when you zoom in, you'll put in more detail. When you zoom back, you'll take away detail. Okay, so with that done, let's go to our overlay. Let's take off this wireframe so we can see the body more. Should be better to look to see how, you know, how this smoothing works. So now we're going to go to object mode. Okay, so I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to click on what looks like a wrench, which is our modifier menu. I'm then going to click on Add Modifier. I'm going to go to the Smooth modifier where we see Factor. I'm going to click here, change this to 1. Where we see Repeat, I'm going to click here and change this to 20. You can see with that 20 how things got a lot smoother. Still would like it to be smoother, so let's try taking it up to 50 and see what happens. We'll press enter. Still smoother. Let's take it up to 100 and see what happens. So hold the middle mouse button to take a look. Okay, I like how this is at 100, so I'm going to click apply. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go right beneath this display. There's a small triangular shape. It's kind of difficult to see. I'm going to hover here, left click, and drag my mouse down. And when I did that, I got this other window here. Reason why I did that was I wanted to click this arrow here now, and then I want to go to image editor, and then I want to bring in our reference image here. So this right here, you can load in images here. I'm just going to click this arrow, and this should remember what we had, which is our male body blocking reference. I'm going to left click here. So now we have the reference image right here. So we still have it when we go to front view. However, we also have it here as well. Okay, so we're gonna, with this selected, we're gonna go back to sculpt mode. We're gonna quickly, add some details to this sculpt descend. I'm gonna click here, so we have less room here. With this, we can also shrink this window. Just hover your mouse here. You can make this smaller or bigger. I'm going to scroll down, make sure I have dynamic topology turned on. And then I'm going to go to our crease brush. I'm just putting a crease right down the center of the back there, holding shift to smooth that in there. I'm going to hold shift here. I'm actually going to turn off dynamic topology, and let's see how much shape we can get in without that. So looking at the biceps here, we're going for a stylistic look, so we're just kind of making like a V shape here. This is again with the crease brush. I'm going to hover here, hold the middle mouse button to turn to the side. Okay, so we don't have the arm there. So here we're going to make the deltoid shape. So we're just cutting in this shape for the deltoid there. Coming across like this. Actually, it should probably, yeah. Okay, so by doing this, I was able to move it down. I just kept rubbing back and forth right here, and I was able to bring that down. Let's split up the chest here. And I'm just making a line, trying to make the deltoid as well as the chest look like they're connecting more than they are now. I'm going to go to the inflate brush and inflate this some here. Holding shift, smooth that out. I'm going to go back to the crease brush. Hold control, we'll bring a line right here. And this is, we're going for a stylistic look here. So if you're like, it doesn't look realistic, it's not quite what we're going for. I'm going to hold control here to make the crease brush come out instead of push in. Hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. I just zoomed in. Just making this separation more there. Thing for here. Okay, so I'm gonna sharpen up these edges along with, going with our stylized theme here. So I'm not holding control there. Now I am holding control here. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate, holding control again now. Here. Holding the middle mouse button to rotate. Not holding control here. I'm just sharpening these edges up. Just holding control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Holding control here to sharpen this up. Holding control here to sharpen this up. And I'm going for a stylistic look. If you're, going along, you don't like this look, you can always, change what you're doing. Hold control the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm holding control here. Holding control here. Holding shift to the middle mouse button to pan. Holding control. I'm on that grease. Not holding control. Holding control here. Not holding control. Holding the middle mouse button to rotate. Holding control. Holding control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom out. Shift the middle mouse button to pan. Holding control and the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm holding control. Not holding control. Not holding control. Not holding control. I'm basically trying to get the shape of quadricep without really defining it. Not holding control. Holding shift to smooth this out some. Now not holding control again. Controlling the middle mouse button to zoom in. Not holding control here. Go to the grab brush. Just pushing that in. Something like that. I'm going to go to the inflate brush, hold the middle mouse button to rotate towards the back. And I'm just going to make these calves bigger. Okay, I'm going to go back to the crease brush. I pressed F to shrink that down some. So I didn't hold cold control, then I held it to kind of put like this hard edge in here. Okay, that's interesting. Not quite what I wanted, so I'm not holding control and I'm just changing the shape of this. Part of the calf, I'm holding shift. Smooth that out some. Coming to this other side here. I'm holding control. Again, I'm going for a very stylized look. Actually, as I was working my way through, I was like, yeah, do I want to make it stylized? Or I want to make it not look stylized. I like the stylized look. I like the other look as well, but I went back and forth and I said, hey, I'm going to make it more stylized. I can shift the middle mouse button, pan. And once you have your shapes, if you want to change them, you can always grab your shapes and manipulate them. This is kind of like the more fun part, I often think. Go back to the crease brush because you can, the basic shapes are in, so holding control. Your basic shapes are in, so you can kind of have fun. So the middle mouse button to take a look. Okay, we're going to go to the inflate brush. Let's make its arms bigger. And when we do this, we lose some of our sharpness we just put in. However, pretty easy to get it back. While we're here, press F to make this bigger. Pull to the side. Up like that. Holding shift right now. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm going to hold control to zoom in. I'm going to go to the crease brush. Press F to shrink my brush. Holding control to resharpen here. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate, holding control, as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Okay, I'm going to go to the grab brush, holding control, as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Hold shift to the middle mouse button to rotate. And hold control, as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Press F to make this actually bigger. Pull this up some, like this. Press shift to smooth that out some. Control the middle mouse button to zoom back. Taking a look. Press F to shrink my brush. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to go to the crease brush. Press F to shrink my brush. Kind of making like a diamond shape here. I'm making basically a V here. holding control here. Now I'm not holding control. I'm underneath here, basically setting this up to get a more angular, stylistic. Now I'm holding control here, pretty much thinking and doing the same thing. Not holding control, digging in deeper there. Not holding control, now holding control. I'm basically drawing kind of a U here, if you will. Not holding control. Now I'm holding control. Let me do that. Holding the mouse button, rotate. Shift the middle mouse button, pan, holding control as well as the middle mouse button, rotate, holding control. Not holding control. Holding control. Still holding control. Not holding control. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. As you're doing this, you can always over sharpen your lines, because remember, you can use the smooth modifier and come in and make your lines not as hard. So I'm not holding control, now I'm holding control. So I'll take the blob brush here. So now I'll go back to the crease brush. Still on the crease brush. Holding control. Holding control. Not holding control. Holding shift. Holding control. Onto the blob brush. Basically going from near the back of the ear with the blob brush to about there. Holding shift. Blob brush again. Holding shift. Holding shift to smooth this out. Going to the inflate brush. We'll go to control. Just holding control here. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. We need new geometry. We can turn on a dynamic topology and get more. I'm going to go to the inflate brush, hold control, zoom into these fingers, just make them thicker. I'm just left clicking rather than clicking and dragging, which actually is easier to do. Just clicking again and again. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate. Okay, now I'm going to go to the grease brush. Press F. Hold control. Thought I was holding control. Now I'm holding control. There we go. Just putting angles on here. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate. Holding control. The shadows kind of tell you where you can put an angle in. I'm holding control, and holding control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom there particularly helps when you need a smooth zoom in. Careful here because I can see that as I'm working on the one, the other finger is being affected. If you're very concerned about that, you can always shrink the size of your brush. You can also mask the other fingers. control. Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Control and the middle mouse button to zoom forward. Holding control. Not holding control. Holding control. Not holding control. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control there. Not holding control, holding control. I'm going to hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Holding control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom out. I'm going to press 3 on the number keypad. I'm going to press B for box select. Select that bottom part there. Go to the grab brush. Press F to shrink my brush. That's why I'm here adjusting some of these other pieces. Okay, I'm gonna go to the crease brush, holding control, holding control, holding control, holding shift, holding shift, holding control, holding shift, holding control, I'm pressing F to shrink my brush, holding control, not holding control now, holding control, not holding control, holding shift, I'm going to hold control, then press 7 to go to a top view. I'm going to hold Alt M to take away the mask. I'm going to press F, go to my grab brush. Pull back like that. Hold shift as well as the middle mouse button. Forward. I'm in an orthographic view, so we should be fairly safe as far as not messing up the flatness that we have on the bottom here. I'll press F. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm going to go to the crease brush, press F. Not press F, sorry. Not press F, hold Control. Resharpening line here. Holding Control. Holding Shift. Just press F to decrease my brush size. I guess that's why. So I was wondering, I was like, why did I say F? But I guess I was thinking no control here. I was thinking of the brush size. Hold a Control. I go to the blob brush. Just putting in spinal erectors right there. I want some more geometry, so I'm going to turn on dynamic topology. I'm going to go to our simplify brush. Just add some geometry in here as well. Now I'll smooth that out. I'm going to hold Control as well as the mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to go to the crease brush. Smooth this out. Holding Control and just hold smooth that out. Okay, we did all this work, so we might as well give him a face. I'm going to hold Control, zoom in. Too much in there. Hold Shift to this. Wasn't the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to holding the crease brush. I mean, I'm holding Control as I work on the crease brush. Now I'm not holding Control. Holding Control now. Not holding Control. Holding Control now. Now I am holding Control again. Not holding Control. Holding Control there. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to go to the blob brush. blob brush normally comes out. So I'm going to I was holding control of the middle mouse button, holding control so that this goes in instead of so that the blob brush goes in instead of coming out. So I have like this thing set up here for the eyes, right? So now in this corner, you want to make it even deeper, like there for the eye. You can actually do more here. In that corner, you want particularly it to be fairly deep. I'm going to hold them in the mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to go to the flatten brush, press F, make the brush bigger, and try to get in these face planes. This particular face plane right here. So hold shift to take that away there. Press F, shrink down my brush. Flattening this out. More right there. Okay, what we're going to do is go to the mask brush. Hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. We'll draw this mask right here. Make sure you give enough space between the top of your mouth as well as your top of your nose. We'll hold control, press I to invert that. Okay, so we're going to go to the blob brush, hold control. We're making it inside of a mouth here. And I let go of control and then I hold it again, which seems to give me an ability to go deeper, whichever direction I'm aimed in. So I'm just rotating around to get some depth. So he actually has a inside mouth there. I'll hold shift to smooth this out. Holding control again. Get some depth on the bottom there. Okay, I'm going to hold Alt, press M to take away the mask. Okay, I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. I'm going to hover here. Then I'm going to hover here. I'm going to hold Alt, then press B. I'm going to draw this box right over the face. Then when I let go, we see just the face. The body's still there. It's just hidden from view. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to go back to the mask brush. Press F. Drawing a slight ring around the outside here. I'm going to hold Alt. No, not that. I'm going to hold Control, press I. So now with this, we can go to inflate. We'll go to the grab brush, pull out the top, bottom there. We'll go to the flatten brush, press F, flatten that out some. Go to the inflate brush, not too much. Zoom in, nope. Back to flatten brush. Find out, so I'm going to hold Alt, press M to take away the mask. Shift and smooth to smooth this out some. We'll go to the crease brush, hold Control. Okay, so now what we can do is we'll go to the grab brush. Pull out the face on there. Pull out the face on there. Over here, pull out chin some. Yep, grab brush. Want to be careful about this area here where you want to have enough space underneath your nose. Grab brush, we can grab that chin, pull it out some. Pull this out some here. Pull the nose out some there. Make this more curved here. Basic shape's already here, so it's actually not all that much work that needs to be done. So we'll shift to smooth that out there. We'll go to the blob brush here. Hold Control, zoom in, hold Shift, press F to shrink my brush. This thing in here like that. There are noises in the background. My cat and my Labrador compete. Both of them compete to try to get into the recordings. So one will make noise and the other one will take over when one stops. It's interesting sometimes anyway. Interesting to me trying to figure out how to get them not in the recordings. Anyway, hold the middle mouse button to rotate. Bit more here. Let's make some quick tea for this dude. I'll hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold Alt B. That brings everything back. I'm going to right click, hold Shift, press A, bring in a cube. I'm going to click near the top, go to edit mode. I'm going to right click, select subdivide. I'm going to subdivide this So it has the number of cuts is 3. I'm going to press S to scale. Whoop, I don't want that proportional editing tool on. So I'll press S to scale on the Z axis like this. S to scale on the Y axis like that. I'll press 1. Zoom in. I'll press S to scale on the Z axis like that. Then I'm going to go to View, Local View, Toggle Local View. Okay, what we're going to do now is click on the wireframe brush. We're making gums right here. We're going to go to Face Select. We're going to press B for Box Select. Select to the halfway point. Press X to bring up our Delete menu. Choose Faces to delete. We're going to go to the wrench. It looks like the wrench is our Add Modifier button. We're going to click here. Go to the Mirror Modifier. We're going to click here so it looks like it's applied. We're now going to, I'm going to press 7. You could also go to View, Viewport, Viewpoint, and select top if you wanted. Here, what you're going to do is press B for Box Select. We're on Face Select. We're going to press R to rotate. We need 6 sections of gum. So I'm going to left click to deselect on nothingness. I'm going to press B for Box Select to select right there. Press E to extrude. You want your sections to be about the same as this. I'm going to press R to rotate. So here's 3 sections. We need another 3. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. We're going to press E to extrude. Push like this. R to rotate. We have 4 now. As far as sections, we're going to press E to extrude. We want to have this. I'm going to left click on nothingness to deselect. Go to vertex select. We want this to be rotated more. Now left click. I'm going to press B for box select. Select here. Press S to scale on the Y axis 0. Then left click to lock that in. Okay, I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Press E. Extrude, bring this out just like that. I'm going to go to our mirror modifier. I'm going to turn on this, put a check mark next to clipping. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. So I'm going to left click on nothingness, deselect, click here. We don't need this top part right there, so I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to press C for paint select. Select all of these top faces right here. Then I'm going to right click, get out of paint select. Press X to bring up our delete menu, then choose faces to delete. Okay, what we're going to do now is hold Control as well as pull the middle mouse button back. We're going to hold Control, then press, while holding Control, right click. That's interesting. Okay, Shift and right click. Hold Shift, press A, bring in a cube. You're going to right click, select subdivide. And then you're going to go to vertex select. Click the bottom vertex. Push that down. Take the top vertex, push this up. Now left click, go to object mode. Here in object mode, we're going to hold Control, press 2. That's a shortcut for subdivide. Put the modifier subdivision smooth modifier on, which you can see here. We'll right click and then select shade smooth. Okay, we're going to go to edit mode. We'll click here, press, go to face select, press L, shrink these down. When you position these, you want to make these I'm going to press S to scale on the Y-axis to make them thinner. You want to make them so that they, be careful that you don't get too close. Those front two teeth, you want to make it look like they're actually going into the gums. Or coming out of the gums. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Don't make them too close. I'm going to hold shift, press D, right click. Press R to rotate. I'm going to press S to scale. Bring them back. These ones you can have a little closer to the teeth since they won't join from the clipping part of our mirror modifier is why I'm concerned about these being so close. I'm going to hold shift, press D, right click, pull these to the side. It's going to be your canines here, so rotate this. Go to vertex select, grab that bottom vertex and pull that down more. I'll left click on nothingness to deselect. I'm going to press S to scale that down. So we have 3 teeth on the side. I'm going to hold shift, press D, right click. Press R to rotate on the Z axis like this. Hold shift, press D. Shift, press D. So what do we have? 3. We'll do one more. Or to rotate on the Z axis here. We'll click on our click on our gum here. With that gum clicked on, we'll hold Alt, press S. I'm holding Shift for fine control. Just making the gum thicker. So we have 7 teeth. So 7 teeth or 8 teeth. It's fine. We'll left click on nothingness to deselect. We'll come out of here. We'll hold shift, press D, right click, push this down like that. Push down more. Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Okay, we'll press R to rotate on the Y axis, 180, and then press enter to lock that in. Bring this up like this. Bring that back some. We'll press S to scale. Go to edit mode. Hover here, press L, press S to scale, or to rotate on the Z axis. Be careful here. I'm going to go back to object mode, left click on nothingness. We're currently in local mode, so I'm going to go to view, local view, select toggle local view. Click here, medium point is correct. Okay, there we go. So we're shrinking this down. Bringing these teeth in, we can use that line to line them up, that dot, I should say. I'm rolling the mouse wheel back. You can see the teeth are way back. We'll push them forward. See how the teeth are in. When teeth go in, right, they don't go in straight like that. They're actually tilted down. So you're going to press R to rotate on the X axis. So they're like this. So we'll press S to scale. Okay, I'm going to hold Control as well as the mouse button to zoom in. Okay, let's give him some eyes. We're going to hold Shift, then right click. We're going to hold Shift, press A. We're going to go to UV Sphere. With the UV Sphere, we're going to press 1 to go to front view. Roll the mouse to zoom in. I'm going to press S to scale. Orthographic view tends to jump like that. S to scale. Okay, so we're going to go to 1 for orthographic view. Mouse wheel in. We'll go to View, Local View, Toggle Local View. Okay, here we're going to go to Edit Mode. We're going to press 3 to go to Side View. I'm going to click the upper right to go to Wireframe View. We're going to press B for Box Select. Select this whole top piece right here. We're going to press Y. Y separated that piece. And now when I press G, we can move this. We're going to right click. We're now going to press A to select everything. Hold Shift, press S. This brings up our Snap to menu. We're going to choose Cursor to select it. That puts the 3D cursor right in the center. We'll go to this upper middle section. Click here. Change the pivot point from the default pivot point, which is the median point, to the 3D cursor. We'll, with face select on, hover here, press L. Then we'll press R to rotate, and you can see we're rotating right on that 3D cursor. Well, I left clicked on nothingness to deselect. I'll hover here, press L, press R to rotate, like that. Now left click on nothingness to deselect. I'll click to go back to solid view. We're going to go back to object view, press 1 to go back to front view. Then we're going to click view to go to local view, toggle local view, like that. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and jump. I just wanted to see this without the reference. So we're going to go with the eyeball selector. We're going to click Add Modifier. We're going to go to Solidify. So now we have a Solidify modifier added. Okay, so we're going to left click on thickness. Bring that to the side like that. Eyelids tend to be thicker than people realize that they are. We still have our 3D cursor right in the center, so that allows us to be able to go Shift A, and we're in object mode now. We'll go to UV Sphere, and we'll just bring this eyeball down just like that. I'll right click and select Shade Smooth. Now I'm going to click on the eye, right click, select Shade Smooth. I'm then going to, with the eyeball selected, I'm going to add a mirror modifier on. So here's the mirror modifier. I'm going to click mirror object. I'm going to type in EM for our empty that we had previously. I'm going to left click on that empty. I'll click on eyeball, hold Shift, click on the eyelid, let go of Shift, hold Control, press L. This brings up our Make Links menu. I'll then select, well, and I want the Solidify modifier on there, so I'm actually going to just click on eyeball, go to Add Modifier, select Mirror, click Mirror Object, type in EM, and then select Empty. Okay, we're going to zoom back, go to the side, click here, press X, delete that since we don't need that. Zoom in here, we're going to hold Alt, press B, so that we can just see that. I'm going to press 3. We're going to go to click on our mesh, go to edit mode. We're going to click on vertex select. Select one vertice. Run vertex, not vertice. I was just telling somebody, they were like, I don't like how you say it's vertex is singular, vertices is multiple. And I was like, I don't do that anymore. And I just did it. Okay. I'm going to hold Alt, then press O to turn on connected proportional editing. I'm going to press G, and I'm pressing G because I want to see the size of that proportional editing. That's why I need to click the one vertex. We have so much geometry. You can see the computer thinking there. Yeah, I thought it would do it faster with just one vertex. Okay, so I'm going to shrink this down. I'm trying to roll the mouse wheel. And all I'm doing here, the reason why I'm doing this is I just want this to be in place. So I'm going to actually right click for when we grab the jaw, which we're about to do. So we're going to left click on nothingness. We're going to go to wireframe. We're going to hold shift, then right click here. Our pivot point is still with the 3D cursor, which is good. We're going to hold control as well as hold the right mouse button. Select all of this here. And then now with that, we're going to press R. It's probably going to take a while. And we're going to use that pivot point to help shut the mouth. So okay, so I am moving my mouse up. Wow, because it lagged. Trying to get it back. I'm going to roll the mouse. There we go. I'm going to left click to lock that in. Deselect by clicking on nothingness. Go back to solid view. Go to scope view. Scope mode, I should say. Here in scope mode, here we are. So what we're going to do here is we're going to press F, hold shift, and we're just going to smooth this out. And just smooth this out. See that? So while we're here, let's go to object mode. Let's click on his teeth, press S. We have this set there. Let's change this back to medium point. There we go. He's up some like that. We'll click here, go back to scope mode. Okay, so we're gonna go to inflate, partially use this to make his mouth shut more. Then we can smooth this out. Same thing with this, we'll flatten that out. hold shift. I'm going to go to flatten here. Shift. I'm going to go press F. I'll hold smooth here. I'm going to go to the grab brush. Bring this in like this. Then I'm going to go to the mask brush. I'm going to press F to shrink my brush down, basically drawing in a nostril right here. I'll hold Control, press I, go to the inflate brush, inflate that up. I'll click here. I'll go to turn my dynamic topology on. Give some geometry with the simplify brush. Hold shift. Then I'll hold Alt, press M to take away the mask. Okay, we're going to go to the blob brush, just like this. Or the ear. I heard a description of working on the ear before, and somebody described it as the hook, the Y and the bump. That actually is a good description, because there's like basically, if you think of this as being like a hook right here, and the shape, the way I have this shaped is the hook kind of comes down here. So let's grab that whole part there. Hold shift. So this is like the hook here, right? So then the Y, if you're like, what is he talking about? I'm talking about the shapes of the ear. There's the hook is basically the helix. The anti-helix is the Y. So you go like this. It's kind of like comes down and it wraps around. So it's like a wrapped around Y. We shrink our brush. Now we hold Control. We make the Y shape. And then there's the bump. The bump is like right around here. Press F. Holding Control to do this part. It's just a pretty easy way of remembering how to. I mean, you want to use, reference. I do have a picture on my other monitor over here. However, it's a pretty easy way to remember, how to do a basic ear. Okay, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to turn off dynamic topology. We can actually hold Control, hold Shift, draw a loop right here of a mask, hold Control Shift, and left mouse button does that. And then that allows us to The mouth be more shut. We'll hold Alt, press M to take that away. Then we can push and pull the face. Just hold Shift here. Just move that out. Mouth back some like that. Zoom in here. We'll go back to our mask brush. Pull the middle mouse button to rotate, pressing F. And we're just drawing in the nostrils here, holding Control. Press I. We'll turn on dynamic topology. Click OK. Go to the blob brush. Press F. I'm just holding Control again and again, by the way. I think I hold Control, it doesn't necessarily seem like it goes in. And then I let go of Control. Press it again and it goes in deeper, it being the crevice there. I'm going to hold Alt, press M to get rid of the mask. And this right here, you can hold Control like that. Also can just putting crease brush here. I'm holding crease here. Go to inflate here. I'll go to crease brush here, holding Control. Pull this back here. Shift. Oh, now he has like no lip. Okay, we'll zoom in. Oh. Just aim above his lip. Should be. Hold Control here. Let's take his nostrils, go to the grab brush. Pull down some. Back some. crease here. And we'll do a slight crease from here, and then we're going to use the smooth brush, so don't be alarmed. I did another tutorial on the male head. It's very strong features. I wanted to purposely make this be less strong as far as the features. I go to object mode, click on the eye, click here to deselect there, press S to scale these down some. Let's click here, control, click here, push this forward some, click here, go to scope mode, I'll go to inflate, I'll go to crease brush, control zoom in, F, bring this in like here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to hold shift, hold the left mouse button, then I'm going to draw a mask here. Then I'm going to hold control, press I. Actually, it's the opposite of what I wanted. So I'm going to go here. I want to push this up. Now I'm going to hold control, press I. I'm going to take this and push this up. If you do this, by the way, in increments, instead of like just grabbing and pushing, you'll have more control over this. I'm going to hold Alt, press M. I'm going to go to object mode, click here, move these teeth up here, click here, press up, move these teeth up here to make it so there's less space in between the teeth. We're going to click here, go to edit mode. We're going to hover here, press L, and then after pressing L, we're going to hold control, press I to select the teeth. Then going to hold Alt, press S, hold shift. And what this is doing is making our teeth thicker, but making them also closer together as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go to object mode, click on these bottom teeth, go to edit mode, go to face select, hold the mouse button, rotate, press L over the gums, hold control, press I. Then I'm gonna hold Alt, press S, hold shift, and then bring the mouse down. Then left click to lock that in. Then I'm going to click on nothingness to deselect. Okay, so I'm going to go to object mode. I'm going to click on our mesh, go to scope mode. I'm going to hold control as well as the mouse button to zoom in. Just reshape the ears some, have them not come out so far. And I'm just going to change the shape of the face some. Holding shift. Smooth this out. Just pulling this lip back some. Control the middle mouse button, press F. So hold shift to smooth that out. Just adjusting these proportions. I'm going to hold shift as well as the left mouse button to put a mask right here. I'm just holding shift. Just smoothing things out some more. I'm going to hold Alt, press B. Holding shift. Grab brush. Just smoothing out. I can see things when I adjusted them before, just off some. So let me hold Alt, press M to take away that mask. And one thing we can do is let's go to object mode. Let's go to edit mode. I'm gonna press 1. This is, you have to be careful here because we don't have a mirror modifier on this. So I'm in orthographic view, right? So I have a box select. So that should be exactly the same on both sides, even though we don't have a mirror modifier. I'm going to hold Control, press I. So now I have just the body selected. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I want to make the body, the head a little bigger. If I change the shape of the body, because you're more used to looking at human faces, if the face is out of proportion, things get changed a little bit from me. Okay, with the body selected, what I'm going to do is press S to scale. That should be good. Now I'm going to push the body up some. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to left click on nothingness. Go back to object mode. Go back to solid view. Go back to sculpt mode. So now the head's more proportion with the body. And then as far as this here, hold shift. Yeah, this is fairly easily dealt with. That shift. We'll zoom in, hold shift. And actually with this here, we'll go to the grab brush. Actually pull that out, something like that. Hold shift. Hold shift. If you want a super strong smooth, because shift automatically makes this go to smooth, the flatten brush basically does that. So you can kind of think of flatten brush as like a very strong smooth, like this right here. We can actually like, let's grab and pull here and then just smooth this out. It's here. We'll take our crease brush down here like that, like this. Smooth there. Okay, our crease brush. That. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. Holding control. not holding control. I'm going to hold control as well as the mouse button. The grab brush. Press F. Smooth brush there. Just adjusting some of the body parts. Holding shift. So remember I told you about the flattened brushes, like a super strong version of smooth. So you see that. So when you wanna, so I want this shoulder muscle to come forward more. And here's shift. And now I switch to flatten. See the flatten. Yeah. Gets it done. Grab brush here, press F. Control and the mouse button, zoom back. Okay, I'm going to go to Object View. I'm going to press 1 to go to Front Orthographic View. I'm going to go to Edit Mode. I'm going to make sure I'm on Face Select. I'm going to press B for Box Select. Select right here. I need to be in wireframe mode. So I'm going to deselect, press B for box select, do this again. Now I have everything I did in the first time. So I press G, then Z. So I'm going to increase the length of the torso some. Actually left clicked by accident. Now I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis. You want to move your mouse slow here because there's a lot of geometry. Left click on nothingness, deselect. Go back to solid view. Back to object mode. I'll go back to scoped mode. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Okay. Piece of my hand. There, that's interesting. Okay, we'll deal with that later. Let's zoom in. Press F. Hold Shift. Smooth this out, and you can see this smooths out fairly well. Let go of Shift. Held the middle mouse button to rotate. Holding Shift again. Holding the middle mouse button to rotate. Holding shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Holding shift. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, rotate towards the front. Definitely looks better with the torso stretched out, I think. I'm going to go to the crease brush, hold control to put that stylized line back there. Holding control, I just held the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Holding control here. Holding control. Holding control. Sharpening those lines. Holding control here. And I'm holding control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Just taking a look. Holding control. Holding control, holding shift. Holding control for right here. Holding control. Holding control, just making these fingers sharper. Holding control. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back for this hand. Yeah, we need to fix this. One way we can easily fix this is we can scroll down, turn on dynamic topology, click OK. Scroll down more. I had to click dynamic topology to turn that back on simply because of the way I edit the videos. With dynamic topology on, we have this option called symmetricize, and what that does is that copies one side of a mesh to the other side. This minus X would be this side, this plus X would be this side. So since this side is good, once we click symmetricize, that should solve our issue. Okay, so I'm about to click symmetricize, and let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. So the issue is now solved. Okay, I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back in. I'll hold Shift here. Okay, so let's give them some hair. So we're going to go to object mode. Hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold shift. Then right click to put the 3D cursor there. I'm going to hold shift, press A, bring in a plane. Then I'm going to go to edit mode, hold alt. While holding alt, press M. I'm then going to select, actually, let me go to vertex select. Now I'm going to hold alt, press M. Then when we press alt M, that brought up our merge menu. We're going to choose at center. So now we have one vertex. Press A. There's that one vertex there. I'm going to press O to turn off my proportional editing tool. I've pressed it twice because I had connected proportional editing turned on. Okay, with this vertex selected, we're going to go to our snapping setting here. We're going to set this for face. Now we're going to click this. Wait a second, we're going to go back to our snapping. We need to set this to face like we just did. We also need a check mark next to project individual elements. So we'll put that check mark there. Now we'll turn on this magnet. Now when we press G, this vertex will snap right to our face there. So what I'm going to do is hold control. While I hold control and I right click, I extrude a vertex. So now with that done, I'm going to press A to select all of those vertices. Then I'm going to press E to extrude, right click. Then I'm going to pull them up like this. Then press E to extrude again, right click. Then pull those vertices up again. So now I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to left click on nothingness, go to object mode, and go to our modifier tab, click here, and then select the solidify modifier. Okay, I'm going to pull to the left, make that thicker. I'm going to hold shift, make it somewhat less thick, and then I'm going to hold control, press 2, then right click, then select shade smooth. Okay, now I'm going to add a mirror modifier. So I have the mirror modifier here. So I will go to the mirror object, type in EM, select the empty, move that eyebrows closer to each other. I'll press S to scale on the Z-axis as well. Left click to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hold shift, press C. I put the 3D cursor right in the center. I'm going to hold shift, press B. Draw a zoom box to zoom right in. I'm going to hold shift, press A. In objects, in Blender, objects tend to come into Blender where the 3D cursor is at. So I'm going to go to UV sphere. So there's our UV sphere there. I'll go to 3. I'm going to go to edit mode, wireframe view. Make sure I'm on face select, which I am. I'm going to press B for box select. Select these faces here, press C. So I can deselect there, right click, then press X to bring up our X menu, then choose faces to delete. Okay, I'm going to go to solid view. Go to sculpt mode. Go to grab. Just push this in so it closely matches the head. Bring this back here. Pull down here like that. Hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Push this up some like this. Hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go to edit mode. Make sure I'm on face select. I'm going to hold Alt. Hold the middle mouse button. So now I'm holding Shift as well as Alt again. Let go of Shift and Alt, holding it again. Just skipping every other loop. I'll let go, holding. That's interesting. Okay. Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold Shift as well as Alt. Shift as well as Alt again. Shift as well as Alt. Let go. Just to rotate. Shift as well as Alt. Shift as well as Alt. Shift as well as Alt. Okay, now what I'm going to do is press E to extrude, right click, then I'm going to hold Alt, press S, then hold Shift. Just to bring that out like that. I'm going to press C for paint select. We don't need this, so I'll press X to bring up our delete menu, then choose faces to delete. Okay, I'll hold the mouse button to rotate. Go back to object mode. I'll hold Control, press 2. Right click, select Shade Smooth. Then I'll go to Sculpt mode. Okay, we can't see our modifiers in Sculpt mode, so I'm going to go back to object mode and click Apply. Okay, I'll go back to Sculpt mode, hold Control, zoom back, go to Inflate. Okay, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. This right here, we can go to the Inflate brush. I press F to increase the size of the brush. So just by doing that, we get rid of that space. Then we can go to our grab brush. Right click, I'm going to press F again. I'll just pull that down, back down. So we want to turn off this symmetry lock. So I'm going to click the X button. And what that allows us to do is to make the hair non-symmetrical. So now in the back you can pull and just give the hair some more flair. Hold Control, hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I press F to shrink my brush. I pull the hair to the so it's going towards the right. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. I'm going to push this hair here as well. I'll hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Okay, with these end pieces here, what we can do is use the snake hook brush. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press F to shrink my brush. I'm going to make sure we have dynamic topology turned on for this. Press F to shrink the brush, and yeah, we can just pull the hair to actually get some points on the hair. Hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Okay, I'm going to click to turn dynamic topology off now. Okay, I'm going to go to the overlay. I'm going to go down to where we see wireframe. I'm going to put a check mark next to geometry just so we can see the geometry of the hair. I'm going to go to our symmetry brush. I'm going to turn dynamic topology back on. I'm going to add geometry to the hair. So I'm just left clicking. I'm not dragging. I'm just left clicking to add geometry. I just held Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. And you can see, with the wireframe, our geometry going up. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. I'm going to go to the overlay and then unclick that wireframe view. Okay, now that we have more geometry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the inflate brush to inflate this some just to get rid of some of the gaps. Now I'm going to go to the crease brush. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Press F to shrink my brush. So I'm holding Control. And I'm doing this just to get a more stylized look to the hair. Holding Shift as well as the middle mouse button. Just holding Control. Still holding Control now. Holding Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Holding Control again. So I'm pretty much holding Control except when I pan. So I'm holding Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan now. Holding Control. Holding Control. Holding Control. Holding Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. And I'm basically just trying to put an edge on these different pieces of hair. I'm going to hold Shift to smooth that out. Holding Control. Holding Control. Holding Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom out. Holding Control again. Be aware that when you zoom out, you'll have less detail for your hair. When you're zoomed in, it does seem like when you zoom out, you can work faster. Though I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. holding control, holding control, holding your middle mouse button to rotate the view, holding control again, holding shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan, holding control, holding control. You're getting tired of hearing me saying holding control yet? Okay, so we're almost back to the front, holding shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan, holding control again, holding control, holding control, holding control, holding control here. Okay, I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back to take a look. Yeah, that technique for hair, you know, it's decent because it's fairly quick. What we can do is go to actually the inflate, and we can go to different pieces of the hair to inflate them so that things don't look as uniform. So I'm inflating each of these hairs. Granted, I am taking away some of the sharpness that I just put in. Hold control as well as the middle mouse button. And once we have these inflated, what we can do is go to the flatten brush and then flatten some of the portions of that hair so it doesn't seem as puffy. So you want it to inflate it, but I guess the main thing is a variation. Holding shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. So I'm quickly going to go back to the crease brush, holding control, and I'm just resharpening some of these angles, these edges of the hair. Holding the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm gonna hold smooth to smooth that out some there. Holding control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom. Holding control to sharpen that hair. Okay, I'm gonna hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. The hair I think looks decent. What we're going to do is left click and then go to object mode. We're going to click on our character mesh. We're then going to go back into scope mode. Now when you come back into scope mode, make sure that you go down to your symmetry lock. And then when you see mirror, make sure you put a check mark, or not put a check mark, click on the X so that your symmetry lock is turned back on again, so that your work will be symmetrical again. Okay, what we're going to do is hold the middle mouse button to rotate, hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom out, go to the inflate brush, going to inflate this area, the traps right here, just to make this more even. I'm going to hold, I was holding cap lock, I'm holding shift now, just to smooth out that the trap area had like a step kind of shape to it. Okay, I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button and zoom out. Just taking a look at what we have. I'm going to go to the crease brush. I'm going to hold control just to sharpen this for the stylistic look. We're going for, I'm going to hold control, sharpen that line right there some. Hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. Just taking a general look at what we have, and I like how this this character turned out. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna hold Shift, smooth this out some. I'm gonna hold Control to sharpen up this line here. I do think we're gonna put a smooth modifier on, not too much. Okay, we're going to go to object mode. We have our mesh selected on. We're going to go to the wrench, which is looks like a wrench. That's our modifier menu. We're going to click add modifier. We're going to click on smooth to put a smooth modifier on. For the factor, we're going to change this to 1. And then for the repeat, we're going to change this to 20. I'm just looking and thinking how I like that smooth, how it looks right now. Thinking if I want it this smooth. Okay, you can click on this monitor to see what things look like without the modifier on. So I'm going to click this again. I definitely like how the smooth modifier looks, so I'm going to click apply. Okay, I'm going to click to go into sculpt mode. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold shift just to smooth out the line for the abs right there. I'm going to go to the crease brush. I just want to put another line in for the lower part of abs. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom out. Okay, so now we have our stylized male character mesh. I like how this turned out. As usual, when I do tutorials, I learn things while I was doing this tutorial. I hope you guys learned something from watching this tutorial. Okay, guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all of those of you out there who like the videos on this channel and reshare them, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel, you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.